Hey everyone, Gib here, and I want to talk about how you can do 10 times more damage with your Acheron in Honkai Star Rail. We are now 2 days into Acheron, and you've probably seen videos around of people hitting crazy ult damage numbers, 500k, 1 mil, 2 mil, and you're probably wondering, how can I hit some damage numbers like that? Well, I have the tips for you so that your Acheron can go from hitting 2 damage like this to start and hitting 1 million damage. Like 1 mil single target. This. I can't point to the side of my screen. Yeah. Now, starting off with one of the biggest tips here, it is going straight to the basics. Your Acheron should be leveled up to the highest level you can get her to. She should be equipped with a suitable light cone. Maybe you picked up her signature light cone. Maybe you have something like the Welt light cone. Fermata when you're playing with Kafka or Black Swan. You have the Good Night Sleep Well, which is probably what most people are using because you get that from her banner. You have the Defense Shred light cone. She has a wide variety of options, but you should be using a valid light cone. There's tons of build guides out there so that you can make sure you're using the right light cone. If you want the specifics on like the percentages and stuff on which light cones, you know, how they strive between each other on like a graph and stuff like that. I personally don't got all that, but you know, it's out there. But she should be on a good light cone, leveled up. And next, going on to traces here. Your traces are very important. Traces are the easiest way to guarantee damage on a character. Now, Acheron's trace priority is you want to make sure you have her bonus abilities, and then you want to make sure your ultimate and your talent are leveled up, and then your skill. In terms of priority, let's say you're budgeting, you're going like, I don't know, you're starting at like going from like level 8 talents, and then you're going up from there. If you were to go something first, your talent and your ult are 100% the most important, because your talent gives you all type res pen when you activate your ultimate, and then the ultimate is self-explanatory. It's just Acheron ultimate. It's her biggest damage, the biggest chunk of her kit. Now her skill is obviously good as well, but it is not as important as getting your ultimate and your talent if you were budgeting on leveling her up. And then obviously you want to have all of these bonus abilities as soon as possible. And she also scales off of crit damage, so getting these extra crit damages will be very big. She gets like 20 crit damage for free off of this, like 21 crit damage. That's pretty massive. Now, going on to relics, a lot of people think that relics have to be the best on set. You have to have this, this, and this. You need to have these super specific stats. Acheron is a very good DPS, but this applies to most DPS in the game as well. You can run random pieces and you will still perform as long as you have substats over another set. Now, for Acheron, her best set is indeed Pioneer, and it is recommended to go for Pioneer if you want to have the most damage on her. But let's say you don't have a full Pioneer, you have like a 2-piece Pioneer, and you want to do a 2-piece and 2-piece. That would be better than if you're forcing a Pioneer body, and let's say your Pioneer body looked like, what's a bad crit damage body piece I have like this? This is my Jingliu uses. My Jingliu's main body piece is this. Quantum is one of like the only sets in the game where forcing the stat, like 4-set bonus, has like a super big bonus. Something like Acheron's main set, all you're missing is crit value and the 2-piece. Most people can probably get the 2-piece, so you're probably missing the 4-set. If you can't get the 4-set yet, just run 2 other pieces, either 2 rainbow pieces. If you don't know what rainbow means, it just means like 2 pieces that are offset, pretty much. Either just run 2 offset pieces, or try to get another set, you know, like 2-piece attack or something like that. For planars, it is a little bit different. Planars, you can't really go rainbow build. I cannot recommend going rainbow build on planars. Your planar pieces, they should be on set. Now, Acheron's best planars are either the newest Izumo set, which is this one, the Izumo Gensai, which comes from World 9 of the Sim universe, or use Inert Susato. If you're an OG player, or maybe you're a returning player coming for Acheron, you probably have Inert Susato. These are both really good. A lot of people have been using Izumo since it gives you 12 free crit, and 12 free crit rate is a lot, you know? You definitely want Acheron's ult to be critting as much as possible. But Inert Susato is not far behind. I don't even think it's behind at all. It's literally just whichever one you have better substats on. So you choose on which. And then in terms of the main stat for the orb, you can go attack or lightning damage boost. Attack is supposedly better from what most people have said, but it's only by like, it's less than like 5% or something like that. This is why I personally use a lightning damage orb, and I've tried an attack orb and it wasn't that much damage. So both work good, whichever one you have better substats on. I also don't even have a good attack orb. My attack orb looks like this. It's like okay, but this one looks like this, you know. I would like to have just a better one. See, I need me a juiced out piece like this, you know what I'm saying? But that is what I want to say about relics. Make sure you are not forcing yourself to go on the set and having a garbage ratio. And one last thing I forgot to say is a lot of people probably asking, do you go attack boots or speed boots in Acheron? Just go attack boots. Now, starting with some combat-based tips and tricks. First thing I'm gonna start with, when you are ulting on Acheron, make sure you are always targeting the enemy that has the most amount of Crimson Knot stacks. Now you're gonna be like, why should I do that? Because the Crimson Knot stacks will actually apply to all of the enemies when you ult, and they will give you a damage bonus. As you can see here, 1 damage bonus, 2 damage bonus. Then I go to this guy, 3 damage bonus. That is going to make your ult do big damage. Alright, now here I am going to attack the enemies, and I am not going to go for the enemy that has the Crimson Knot on them, just to show you the ult doing significantly less more damage. Now you see I'm getting no more damage bonus. They even are trying to tell me to attack the enemy with the Crimson Knot. Just to show you. 100k less damage from not attacking an enemy with Crimson Knot. So make sure you are attacking the enemy that has the Crimson Knots on them, or you are missing out on a very significant amount of damage bonus on the enemy. Alright, for the next combat tip here, so we have a pela tip when you're using pela with Acheron. So when you're using pela with Acheron and you have the resolution shines as pearls of sweat, stray away your eyes from my S1, you know, level 31, because I don't have any copies of this junk.
It's detected.
Alright, so what you want to make sure of when you're on pela, if you're in a situation where your ult is up and you need to apply a debuff for Acheron, first you want to make sure the enemy does not have the light cone debuff on them already, because if you try to apply resolution on an enemy that already has resolution, it won't count as you applying a debuff. Second, since Pela's ult counts as an attack and can apply resolution, if you have your ult up and you have resolution available, you want to make sure that you are doing your basic attack into an ult instead of ulting and then waiting, because you will miss out. You're missing out on a debuff stack that you could have gotten because you ulted, so that you used 2, but you're only getting 1 stack on your Acheron. That makes sense. So, for example, I will go here, I will basic attack. I have 60% chance for this to work. Surely this applies.
Time for good old counterattack.
And as you can see here, I was able to get 2 stacks, and I have also implied the ensnarement from Acheron, and she was able to get her stacks. Next combat tip. So Black Swan's ultimate is a dot-based buff, but it's a damage vulnerability thing. But you can take advantage of Black Swan's ult by actually waiting until the enemy attacks to do your attack. So I will go for Black Swan ult here. Apply a debuff. Gonna break this guy on the right. Now, instead of ulting immediately, I have Acheron ult right now, I will wait for this horse to attack. So we're gonna wait for him to go.
No matter.
And we're gonna ult now. Now that we're ulting, and it's in his turn, we have the damage received increase from the epiphany. Or the epiphany, however you say the word. So now, we're gonna go in, and we're gonna do big damage. Bang! Alright, the next tip is going to be a more popular one, not as underlooked as the Black Swan and Pela technologies. It is using your preservation unit with the trend of the universal market. It is this light cone here with a very beautiful woman, Topaz, you know, top ass on the light cone here. Now, this light cone has an effect hit requirement since there is a base chance for it to apply its burn, and burns are a debuff, and what is Acheron need? She needs debuff. So when the enemy goes and hits your fire MC here, he's gonna shield up, he's gonna take it, and he's gonna put a burn on them, and he's gonna give your Acheron an extra stack for her Slash of Dreams, and she's going to Acheron all over them. But yes, this light cone, I will have the effect hit rates on screen that you are going to need for each superimposition. For example, I have S2, I would need 58.8 effect hit rate. Now, obviously, you don't need the exact amount, but if you want a 100% chance to land it, you definitely want to try to get close to that. Also, do keep in mind if you're fighting an enemy with fire resistance, like this burn guy right here, the guy who puts the sword in the ground, he's like, that guy, you're not burning him, you're not burning that guy. So do keep that in mind. But yes, you definitely want to be using this if you are running a preservation unit to maximize the amount of stacks you are getting on your Acheron. All right, and lastly here, I just wanted to add in some very small things that would help you out in terms of like combat and when you're starting a battle. Make sure that you know that there is only one dimension available at a time. Acheron's technique, even though it is an active hit, does count as a dimension that's placed on the battlefield, and it hits every wave. Most teams are going to want to start with Acheron technique. There's rare cases where you'd start with someone else's, like maybe if you have Pela and you really want to make sure you insta kill like the first wave of enemies, then you could start with like your Pela technique. But most of the time you're going to start with your Acheron technique, because then every wave she's going to do a nice slash through and get a stack for free, which is pretty nice. And then yeah, so for zones, make sure you don't have multiple zones. See, if I go Welt here, and then I go Acheron, to show you on the enemies, they don't have Welt slow. So do keep that in mind. Also, one other thing is to make sure you remember that enemies can apply debuffs to themselves. As you can see, I'm at 7 stacks right now. I have one stack from my light cone, and then I got another stack because he drained his HP from summoning the enemies. If you've seen that, I'll try to put it back in and slow it down so you can see it. All right, and this is going to be the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed her, you learned something. If you know something about Acheron gameplay that'll help her play better and I didn't say it, drop it down in the comments. And if you learned something new, let me know down below. It would be greatly appreciated, and I will see y'all later. Goodbye.